Hi everyone, it's Caroline. Welcome. I'm doing the flip through today of the True Trash Transformation Junk Journal, and I'll leave the playlist underneath. This was all done with most of it. There might be a couple of areas where there was some printables that I had used from my scrap pile, but I had not printed anything for this journal. I really wanted to keep it true trash. And so I have several little items that have journaling on them. And this little one here is a flip, a hidden spot. There's some journaling. These pictures are also vintage and they are originals. If you're new, my mom had a neighbor and was given from her neighbor who had no known living relatives, and gave Mom all of the family items, photos, and different papers. So that's the front. The other thing I did is, and it's explained in the creation of the journal, I did just a glue, a no-sew binding, and I used this piece of lace to sort of cover it up, and I just did that on the back, and that's all I did. You can see, I'll give you a view of how my word is fluffy, how fluffy this is. That's better. I just had to reach for a book to support the page. And then what I did on the front inside cover and the back cover is I used this coffee stained muslin fabric, and I also used it to hold the closure, which is a seam binding. And that's all I did, was I just glued it in. I did not sew it. I was thinking about doing it, but I really wanted to keep it no sew with the sewing machine. I did some slow stitching throughout the book, as you'll see. So in the front here, I used a paper clip. This was from a book that I've harvested from for different projects, and it gave me this. It was a daily itinerary card, and I used it, and I actually put a couple of things that from my own calendar, I put that in there. And all my tabs are mostly scrap pieces of paper that I glued, and that was just held in there. The first, and these are not, I don't think they're in order. I have dates on most of my pages or my journaling spots. This was a vintage card. I used scraps of printed on, so this is printed also, but again, it was on wax paper, and I wanted to use it up. And I have, this was from a vintage local newspaper, and I also had this little brad that I got these in a thrifted pile. These are just people that were in the wedding section of the newspaper, and I just thought it was fun. I have pictures here. I have journals, and I have pictures of my Oma and Opa and my mom and dad. Because this was wedding theme, I decided to do that. And I also have some pictures of my friend and her daughter who is getting married, so she had a shower, and I did print off pictures. I thought that was fair enough. It's not a digital print, but it's pictures printed off, and I wanted that as a keepsake. So that was her wedding shower, and I wanted to put that in there. This was a ruffle. I actually still have a piece right here that I had made, and it was in my little container that held most of the parts for this. And then I had just a little bit of journaling, made a scrappy hand sewn, I guess you could call this a little cluster, movable cluster. Did some hand sewing here. This was a card that was blank, and it was in my mom's stash, so I used it and I did some journaling in there. And I added this little embellishment and a sticker. And so that one just sits in there. And this was a page with some, obviously some music sheet. I also had made my own labels. This was from just some ephemera that I had hanging around, put a tab on it. An old postcard that I didn't do any journaling on it, but I just liked the way it looked. And then this is a piece of art that of PEI. This was the PEI flag, and our grandson had colored that, and he gave that to me. He colored it for me. So I put it in here on this day that I did the journaling. And this was an envelope with a window. So on this side, I do have a video for this spread. And this is a journaling card that I covered the window with some lace, and again, a little bit of bling from Broken Jewelry, did some journaling. And I used a scrap, covered it up, did some bling, put an eyelet, did some journaling here. That just sits like that. All scraps, some more vintage photos. And I did some journaling on here. And I also used this is a letter from this fellow here. I do know that now. And it was to his mom and dad. There's a young woodpecker that comes around here with his mother. Love and kisses to you both, Jimmy. And I put that, and I just did some journaling on here. Actually, what I said is this is like the paper that I learned to print on in school, like in primary school. Stittsville Public School, that's where I went. That was like the paper. I guess it didn't change very much, primary printing. This page was also done with scraps. Did some slow stitching, made a pocket. There's another photo from the stash, and then I did some journaling on there, little memories that it evokes. A piece of embossing practice that I did on a shiny piece of scrap. Did some coffee staining on it, and then I turned it into a little journaling card, and this was from my mom's stash too, and it was a blank. Actually, it wasn't blank. It had some writing on it. I think it was from one of her sisters, one of my aunts, and then I just wrote on there, did some journaling. And I'm keeping that in here. Like that. And then on here, I added a little bit of Broken Jewelry, just made a little dangle in a pocket. This is also from the pile of photos, and what I did here, just to preserve this, and I didn't write on it because I think I'd like to make some more copies, but I did copy it, just kept it in my pile of items, because truthfully, I didn't know what this journal was going to be. I thought it might be a gift for someone. I wasn't sure. And then I had a question from a lovely viewer asking, you know, what does somebody do with a journal like this? And that made me continue on with the journal after it was finished to journal in it. So this was some found papers also in the big Rubbermaid tote. More papers here. More letters, and I just added some more, I added a note from a friend from some Happy Mail. And then I did some writing on here, some journaling there. And this was the thank you card from Colleen at Get Art Creations. So I wanted to keep that. So this is how I keep my memories and my fun notes and journaling. So continuing on the story that the viewer wanted to know how to journal, so I thought, well, I'm going to keep the journal and actually journal in it, because I hadn't journaled while I was making the pages. I just left everything blank because I didn't know what I wanted to do, what I was going to do. So this page here, I believe I have a video on this one using all kinds of different scraps, using things that were given to me from different people, my brother, my mom, my different friends, happy mail. So then I just did some more journaling. This was just an old letter. Did some journaling on this vintage piece of paper, and it describes what this means to me, how it makes me feel. Different feelings, different thoughts. This page was wax paper, scraps, book page or dictionary page, some very old articles from the newspaper. I snapped a photo of this wallpaper when we were on our cruise, and I just loved the coloring. It's old, it's antique. So I wanted to put that in here. I just thought it was perfect. And it was from Dolly's house. And then I did a scrappy, I just made in my own tab here, and I just made this little scrappy journaling card to go in here. And this side has stamping. I made this little tab with some scrappy fabric, and I did a journaling spot. I cut this out from an envelope that I got in Happy Mail, and I thought it was really great. I just made a tab from it, and it's a silhouette, and the other one has a different silhouette. Now, this is a printable, as you can see. That was a practice, and I had it in my stash, and I thought I'm going to use it, even though, you know, it's not like there was a rule here, but I wanted to use what I had, and it included some of the printables that I already had printed off. So here I did some journaling. I made this with some antique embroidered linen. Here's a photo, a really fun photo of a lady. It looks like it could be a lunch kit or a kit of something in it. And I put a piece of ephemera that I had already printed off. And I put Curl Caravan in the early 90s because my business, I was a cosmetologist or hairstylist. And so this could have been me. This could have been me in my car in the early 1900s. This is a loaded pocket from Brenda Clark, and I wanted to, I wanted to use this because I thought the picture is perfect with the time, and I used a couple of the pieces in other spots. I'm just keeping that up there. We have, this was the first entry that I did in response to the request for journaling. How do you journal in a book like this? And I had a very limited amount of supplies with me because we were at our daughter's place. And then I did some journaling in here, made a card with a tab, again using scraps. And I do have a video for this one. This was April 24th. This side here is a postcard, and I did some journaling on it. I did use this one for journaling. Very simple, that's all you have to do. And this one was also a video using tags. I did some journaling on there. Did some journaling, just sharing where I was with my girlfriend, and she gave me a whole bunch of fun little items to journal with, to craft with. And this is a note And here, there's a piece of paper with some journaling. So it's a letter, authentic. Use some of the scraps. And I did some more journaling. That one doesn't have any, but did some journaling there. Fun opportunities to do some practical memory keeping. This spread was for our grandson Clark. He turned 5, and I wrote about that, and here was his invitation. He loves Wally, so I just, you know, it's modern, but it's in this journal, and it doesn't matter. You can take a journal and do any kind of memory keeping you like. You can keep it true to the style and only use that, or you can, you know, use what you have here. I also have, I made this from a piece of paper, and I did it with our daughter and her son, and so we just put some sports related pictures there with our grandkids. You can use it how you like. Now this one here was my interactive spread. I do have a video on this one. Scraps and different, this is a photocopy of a book from Charlottenburg, and that's why I put that in there. That was my birthplace. And then I also use, so this, again, it's interactive, so this flips down. Let's see if I can show this. It flips down. I'm going to move the camera a little bit. Just made a tuck spot. I put more of the envelope that I got in Happy Mail, and I just took it out and made a little cluster here to decorate this. And the thing with the decorated journal is you can leave it the way it is and just use it purely for writing, for journaling, or you can just keep adding different things about your day or about your week. That's the fun of it. And then this is a cluster I made with some labels and doilies, another card, and I did some journaling on that postcard. And so that just goes in there, and it's a tuck spot. Oops. Bring that back. And then I added this sticker because it was just hanging around, and I thought I'm just going to put that in even though it's shiny. Added a doily in the middle so that I could use it for both sides here. This is a fun day for me when I started to journal in it, because I've been saying that we've been cleaning out a few file folders from different things, and I found my birth certificate, the original. I found some paperwork about the doctor's certificate that I needed to come on the ship from Germany to here to home. And I also have more things, my mom's baptismal certificate and my baptismal certificate. And I thought, I'm going to keep them in here. They were in this little tiny holder, and I wanted to have them here where I could reflect and see, and I just did a lot of journaling on here. This is a little label that I had printed. It was already printed out, so I kept that in here. More real documentation. And then on this side, I also have my mom's birth certificate. I just have all her papers, and I thought I'm going to keep them in here because they're not, it's really just memories anymore. We don't need it. We don't need to hold on to these things for anything legal. And here's a fun piece of Happy Mail that I got from Colleen, and I really did some journaling and some list making. And I'm keeping all of these things in this pocket because it fits, and I thought it was a perfect spot. I also have this gem review. This was a ring that I got when my mom passed away. I got all her jewelry, so I have this too. And I thought this would be good. A little birthday card from our daughter and her family. And some more things from my mom. And then here's a journaling card. It opens up and I did some journaling in there. So journal here in your blank spaces, anywhere you like. Kind of just like that. Because I don't mind if things are over the top. More happy mail that I put in here because it fit. I loved it. This was from Kathy. And I added in here, I did some journaling. Here's some of our tickets from our flight from Seattle to Montreal. And then not Seattle or Montreal, but I did some journaling on this one. I did a video for this section, this page. Okay, so this is a fun memory too. Did some journaling on here. This is a photo, a scan that I did of my own laces that I got in Happy Mail. So I took a photocopy of that. And I found these photos of our son. It was Crazy Hair Day. It was the last day of school, and the year was 2001. And there's Tara and Brett at the end of their school year. And so I thought this was perfect to keep it in here. Just finding some photos in a place I didn't expect to. I must have been doing something with them. So now we're flipping onto this side. You can see why she's fluffy. So this is two of my mom's expired passports, and I wanted to keep them again somewhere where I can just don't have to dig through a file. So I kept the passport there. Just utilize these pockets, these tuck spots. This has nothing on it. I could put something on it. It's a sailor's song. This page did a couple of videos when making it and then journaling in it. And I made this cute little hanging cluster with scraps. I added this little piece of paper when I did the journaling. This is another piece of that linen. And then some mail. And I did some journaling on here. I did some journaling on here. And I did lots of journaling on this one. Lots to talk about here. That was fun. And a rusty paper clip. Made some rusted paper clips and metal pieces. This one I just kept these fun photos. Well, did some journaling on there. I had my bread tab that I gilded along with this. And then I had this journaling card and I did some writing on there. And so that just all sits right there. And the reason that this was all together was that the whole page started with a magazine advertisement for Maybelline. So I kept it kind of beauty related. Now this page has nothing in it because it just, to me, is a nice... This was a collage that I had done to photocopy to keep these beautiful postcards from the early 1900s. My brother had given these to me, so I just wanted to leave it like that. And that's another thing, you don't have to write or put things on every page, you know, you can just leave it. Here we are with some more of my wax paper. I made a pocket with it. Backed it up and did some journaling on it. And I have a video for this section here, and I did some, you know, a little bit of edging with some scraps of fabric and lace, some embossing just on cardboard from the beginning of the project. And I did some writing on there too, some journaling, some stamping. This page here is a letter that I had glued onto the page. This is a cluster. This here, I just made this quick envelope with another piece of letter. And I just wrote on here that this was from Brenda, some happy mail. So I put that. I thought it would fit in here, and it did. And I thought this would be perfect to keep in here. Some more journaling spot that I used. And I made a hidden or a altered paper clip with this one. Just another part of an envelope. And I put these photos in here. And these are from my mom's neighbor. So fun. So this one started, this was a magazine. I just cut out these flowers. I had this pocket. This journaling card was made up of scraps with some stamping on it. This was a printable that I had. This was the cover sheet, so I had it again over to the side, and I saw it there. I thought it would be perfect when the day that I was journaling. This was from the Happy Mail, so I used that. Oh, this is from, if you wanted to know, this is Art House Whimsy. And then here is a really fun specimen card, journaling card, ID card. I added, and it didn't have anything in it, so I added this bulb pin and a scrap of fabric and a couple of broken jewels, broken pearls. And then I did some journaling on here. And I thought this was perfect. The way it dangles off the side. And then I wanted to see, I guess I could put them there like that. There we go. Just like that. Oh, and the reason I used this photo, I know what it was. When I see this advertisement for using electricity, sharing how, you know, the appliances work and whatnot. So that when I saw this photo here, it's, I don't know who that is. This could be Jimmy, I don't know. And he's carrying buckets to go do laundry. That's my story. So I thought that was fun. This page here was inspired by Anne at Old Decina Scrap, and I used this ledger paper, which was new, and I stained it to make it look old. Added some stamps and broken pieces of scraps. And then I did lots of journaling on here, but I also added some scraps in here. And I just wanted to keep it as a attached. Did lots of journaling here. This is from some more Happy Mail as scrap. And so I thought, well, that was a fun way to use this ledger paper, something a little bit different. And there we go. And I'm going to do that one again. That was really fun to do. This was my embossed paper that I had practiced on, and it was done on my blueberry stained junk mail. Made a little cluster with some lace and a piece of ribbon, and I had photocopied this little girl. And on the last page, I have photos of our grandchildren this summer. This was a piece of paper, and it's called Smiles, and I put that in the pocket. And all my photos have smiles of our grandchildren. And so that was a great way to end this journal. And I just had this cluster that I added with some thread. I just sewed it on. I'm just explaining what I did here. I love keeping this in the pocket here. It's a great reminder. It just shows some fun springtime things that are happening. And I love keeping that as a as a memory spot. I hope it inspires you. Have a really fun time in your creative space. And stay adventurous and be fresh. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now, everyone.